Thank you for staying with us. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has now cleared the way for banks to sell foreign exchange at rates determined by them. This is part of strategies by the Apex Bank to stabilize the Naira and perhaps result in a quicker and more convenient access to foreign currency for businesses and individuals. According to officials from the CBN, authorized dealers can continue to conduct their foreign exchange transaction on a, quote, willing buyer and seller basis, and that to strictly adhere to high ethical standards in their dealings in the foreign exchange markets. But they say there must be transparency from the banks, requiring them to clearly display their prices and refrain from deceiving customers. Joining us in the studio is CEO of Finance with Mukhtar Mohammed. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. You want to say something?
You are doing Valentine Naira. So I hope the Naira will recover during this Valentine period.
Amen. Anyway, this new policy by the CBN, there are questions about if this can restore confidence in the Naira. What do you see?
Well, I don't see it as a new policy. It's not a new policy. You are just coming up with, okay, the only thing that will make it new now is that if I can go into my branch and do the willing buyers. But if you go to the branch of the banks are telling you can exchange dollar. They don't tell you that they tell you can change your dollar to Naira. They don't tell you they have dollar to give to you. So it's a big, because if you do that now, then I will see. You remember the last time I said, I was on your program, I said, why is the CBN not getting the banks involved in FX? Yeah. Why are they not telling the banks to bring in their reserves that they have on FX?
Perhaps they listen to you.
Maybe. So I've been thinking that you need to partner with the bank. The bank have offshore FX, and he said about excess of 5 billion. But again, you look at the CBN, they say one statement here, they do something different. Now, let me give you two scenarios.
Right.
First and foremost, they said banks should not spend FX that was gotten through revaluation of the currency in paying their shareholders or for operational reasons. Then later you say, okay, bank has they have excess liquidity. They must bring about 5 billion excess liquidity into the system. So then when they bring in the excess liquidity into the system, they will now exchange it to get the Naira. And then you are battling with inflation. We want to have most currency in circulation. How do you handle that? That was a policy. So that was a statement that was not clear. It's just like the CBN is looking for one way or the other. Now, I listened to the CBN governor last week. I was highly, highly disappointed. Because you are saying that most of the funds that have really dropped FX out of this country, about $40 billion was for school fees and medicals. And you ask yourself, if you have good schools, will they be going abroad? And if you have good schools, if you can provide job for me when I finish my school, will I be going abroad? No. And when you look at those people that are going abroad, who are they going abroad? Until recently, if you look at the middle class that are going abroad, they are just going abroad because of the job opportunity that is there. They have to sell off everything.
Yes.
They go there so that they can get a means of livelihood. So that is one. Now, when you look at that policy, you said school fees. Now, you look at an economy like India. Indians have built their economy today by exporting intellectual properties. They are the head of Microsoft. They are the head of Google. They exported them, and they in turn bring in FX. I said it on your program before last week that Nigeria in the diaspora, 3 years before the advent of COVID, gave the largest import of FX into this economy.
True.
Why are you not bringing in strategy to attract Nigeria in the diaspora to begin to bring in FX into our economy? Why are you not engaging them in investment opportunities? To say Nigeria in the diaspora, you have to save your currency. Because then you are not saying that those people that struggle to go there now, that you are not saying that they're more or less like the one that have brought the economy down. You are not looking at the remittance they have brought into this economy. I think for me that was not the right statement. It's like passing the buck. You are telling Nigerians, oh, you should not patronize foreign goods any longer. How much of your local good do you have available for Nigerians to patronize? How much of your local currency local good do you have? How much of your local goods have value? How much of your local goods are international standard? Those were what the CBN was trying to do before in the time of Governor Emefiele, even if the means of intervention was not clear-cut, because it was involved in a lot of financial, corruption, 10 days and other. Otherwise, that should have been a good policy. You are looking at How do we come to create value? The CBN governor said we're interested in price stability. We're interested in bringing stability to the market. How do you bring stability to the market when you are not trying to help those locals? He said they will help the locals through other means. Hopefully, we are waiting to see that. But in terms of his statement that he said about school fees, I think that for medicals, we must not go back into that. We know the medical tourism that our former president did. Maybe that was part of the 40 billion. I'm sure him alone would have consumed over $10 billion on that alone. So when you look at the medicals also, it's just like you look at the elite and you're saying you are not blaming you are not telling the average Nigerian to suffer for the sins of the elite. Well, you are not doing anything about it. You are saying you want to bring down inflation. You are saying willing buyers, willing sellers. I said it on your program. What you are going to spend money on? Money you're going to spend, you're making the exchange rate at 800 for budget. Then people that bring goods into Nigeria, that will affect everybody, that will create employment, you are saying is willing buyer, willing seller at 1,400, and you expect inflation to go down, and you expect price of goods or services to go down, when we are almost 80% importing virtually everything we need in this country. Yeah. So why are you not doing it the other way? Why are we not putting expenditure at 1,400? Why are we not putting the rate to bring in goods at 800? Reduce tariff and then bring down inflation, and then you begin to think of stability.
Right, and in all of this, banks are also still being implicated for hoarding dollars. So giving them this leverage to fix, forex rates and all of that, wouldn't it compound the problem?
Well, it will not compound the problem if you see what your statement. Even you read the statement. You say best ethical standard. You are the regulator. Nothing should go under your nose. You should be able to know. The banks are being audited by you every year, even if you have not been auditing yourself. So we need that transparency. We need a regulator that will look up to the bank and say, look, what you're doing is not right. We can see that in the National Electric Regulatory Commission. Just this morning, they are training the discourse that they have overcharged Nigerians.
Yes.
Over 1.7 million Nigerians were over. That is what a regulator should be doing. Be on top of your game. Protect your people. Protect, because we are the customers. The banks are there to make money for their shareholders. And that's why CBN, if there's any issue with the bank, they don't look at the shareholders. They only look at the customers. And that's why you need to protect them. You need to begin to tell the bank, will I go into a banking hall today and see a Bureau de change decks in branches? Let's see where that happened. And again, you see, the problem is that most Nigerians, even the ordinary Nigerians, do not even have confidence in your currency. I went to a place, I met somebody, and of that Nigeria is not even earning so much. And he walked up to me and said, okay, I've just changed my Naira to dollar. I have about $100. I changed it at 1,000 Naira. So I'm expecting that dollar will get to 2,000 Naira, then I will not sell it. Can you see the mindset? Because there's no trust in your currency any longer. When the people have no trust in your currency, no matter the policy you bring, it won't work. First of all, how do you create people to have trust in your currency? Bring down the price of goods. You are not looking at the other way now. You are not trying to attract foreign direct investment into the country. You are now making treasury bills and other bills rate go up because you are going to hike rates. And you have forgotten that if there is no stability, nobody will want to invest in your market. Because any investor that wants to come wants to see stability. If I enter at 1,000 Naira, am I going to exit at 1,000 Naira? Every policy we are doing now is a World Bank enhanced policy, or IMF enhanced policy. They've told us for years to float our currency. Now, when the government came to power, when they floated the currency, IMF and World Bank told us that they are going to support us to bring stability. How much of that support have we gotten from them? So that is why I think instead of the CBN looking for a solution through IMF and World Bank, you need to begin to discuss with the Nigerian in the diaspora. You need to engage.
How? You spoke about strategies.
How? You have a diaspora commission that is headed by a vibrant woman. Why can't you engage them? There are a lot of projects in the real estate sector, equity market. Can't you bring Nigeria in the diaspora to begin to invest? There are a lot of infrastructural decay. Bring them together. And let's see how they can, not looking for foreigners to come and build everything available in this country. We need to start thinking smart. We need to start seeing ourselves as the ownership of this economy. Until we create ownership in our economy, we won't go far. You can look at that in the equity market. 90% of those 95% of the owners of shares in Nigeria today are locals. And that's why you are not seeing the kind of volatility dropping of the market that you will normally see when it goes up. Because locals are now saying, look, this belongs to us, so let the foreigners come and we'll pour it down to them. They'll buy it at a high price. But now Nigerian, our government tend to go cap in hand looking for solution outside instead of looking solution inside. And one of the best solutions to create stability into this market is begin to engage intellectual Nigerians. Is begin to engage Nigerians in the diaspora. Is begin to tell them how they can bring in their funds into Nigeria, not just for their family. Because what the CBN is looking is, oh, how can you remit money for your family to do one business or do... No, how can they begin to form up a diaspora funds that could bring in the... Okay, we want to invest in the capital market. We want to invest in the real estate sector. And then the government become a midwife to that so that they are confident that, oh, it's not sending money to a relative that will not do what you want him to do. The government is involved.
It's a critical point you have made, but you see, the matter of trust is also critical, because if I am going to bring my monies and you are asking me to, I need to trust you as it is, as much as you're saying have confidence in us. Talk to us about this matter of building trust in all of this conversation that we are having now, because it's very critical. We must address this issue. Even IMF that you mentioned, if you look at the papers this morning, it says Nigeria is facing worsening economic crisis. And you said, how much of support have we gotten from IMF? Yet we are still listening to them, and they are still making...
We are even playing to their tune, because now we will now respond to IMF's situation, comment. Oh, we are not having worsening solution. No, you don't need that. You look, at a point, you're talking about confidence building. You need to let your people trust you. Unfortunately, I think you have a CBN governor that has the trust of the people, maybe because of his personality and personality. People seem to be...
But isn't that trust waning as it is with the statements that he's making?
Yeah, he's waning. He's waning. It seems to be like, what can I do about this? I'm not the solution. You Nigerians should sort your issues. You should stop buying foreign goods. You should stop sending your children abroad. That's what he thinks is the solution. No, that's not the solution. The solution is, look, I said it, you might come up with administrative purposes. It can only stand for the short term. What will stabilize your economy is monetary policies. And then monetary policy should work hand in hand with the physical side. Now, you are a CBN, you are trying to stabilize rates. You are the physical side, you are looking at revenue. Every opportunity to hike rates, to make more revenue, you are doing it. You are the CBN side, at the CBN side, you look at monetary policy, you are just using administrative policy. No. When you talk about monetary policy, you bring stability. Physical policy, you need to look at your people to the eyes and say, how can I help my people in this area? Now, on the physical side, we say in Nigeria, as it stands now, there's no money. So what they try to do is, any avenue to get money, we don't care. Bring in the money first. But you are not looking at the cost of living of your people are going up by the day, and their earning capacity is coming low by the day. Somebody made an analogy that 30,000, if you are earning 30,000 Naira today, it's $20.
Imagine.
Even if I'm not a fan of comparing the Naira to the dollar, because you don't spend dollar here, you just spend Naira here. I've said it on your program.
You sure?
I'm saying that is another thing they've not been able to address. They're paying lip service.
But they're trying to address that now.
No, because I can give you 1-2 areas that they are involved in.
Because
there's a particular, will I call it, a particular company that handle visa services for a particular nation that do not collect Naira.
Yes.
And EFCC is also,
on the track of those who are...
You can't be telling me the first place you crack down on those people. It's an open to the EFCC personnel travel to the UK. Nigerian government officials travel to the UK.
How do they pay?
How do they pay? So they shouldn't be paying lip services. You know who to clamp down on. Most of the dollars in circulation today that is making volatility is owned by the elite. And what do? They go after their corrupt tendency because the world is no more safe to even take this money abroad again. So these monies are here. But now because if you put it in the bank, EFCC can go after you. So what are they doing? They are now changing the Naira to the dollar and they can keep it in their home. And when they have any issue, they call the bureau, they change. Please take this one, exchange it to Naira. Then they put it in one sector. Of course, you just looked at the case of the former Accountant General.
And the CBN and its affiliates don't have the mandates to go to those homes, do they?
Well, when you look about Bureau de Change, Bureau de Change is one sector that the CBN have not been able to stamp the authority on. I've listened to the president of the Bureau de Change, Lawan Gwadabe, say that most of the people that you see on the street are not their members. But you ask yourself, so what have the security agency been doing? It's only in Nigeria you are coming into the country. You see somebody holding calculator and doing something like this.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
In other countries,
and we have security personnel all over. The most secure, where you have most security personnel is in the airport. And this thing is happening right in your own nose. So it has to boil down. If we really want to address our situation, after you have used them, FCC goes clamp down on them, all this, it will bring down the rate. It has happened before. Remember,
how far did it go?
Oh, how far did it go? You must bring in policies. And when we talk of policy, we're not talking only administrative policies. They have been doing all the administrative, international money agents now, you have to give them the rate in the market. But have you been able to deal with the app people? Now, let me tell you, remittance from diaspora is still high.
Very high.
But it's not coming to us. Because somebody in the UK don't have to use MoneyGram or Western Union any longer. He goes to the app, he sets his dollars, and those apps are globally working in Nigeria. They just tell you that they'll credit your account here in Nigeria with Naira. They are Nigerians based in the UK. Are those companies registered in this country? Those are part of the internal mechanism the CBN should begin to look at.
But the CBN is also saying that those remittances will now be issued in Naira. Don't you think that will work?
Look, it will work, but you see, where I agree with that is that once the exchange is coming in, now you're saying willing buyer, willing seller. So it will come at the official rate at that day, which is, okay, now it's 1,400. So if I'm going to collect my FX from Western Union or the other agent, I'm going to collect it at the exchange of 1,400. Fantastic. Let's see how that works. Because the reason why Nigerian diaspora are not using those channels is because you want to give them official rate, which is maybe you said, okay, official rate is 800. Yeah. They are not interested. Remember, CBN came up with one policy, 5 Naira for every dollar that you bring it into. It didn't work. All those are administrative purposes. You need to come up with monetary policies. You need to look at the Nigerian and the diaspora. One of those monetary policies, you need to go out of your way and begin to look at how do we attract investment. They are part of the remittance. The oil sector, we are not getting the type of investment because oil thieves are even selling more. And they are not I don't know whether they remit that dollar into our own economy. So that we need even to engage those people. That's a topic for another day. So then secondly, you look at foreign investors, portfolio investors. They will not come to your market if they are the ones that you are waiting for. Because they want to come when you have stability. Once you have stability, there was a time that Nigeria was the highest earner of foreign FX in the whole of Africa. For over 7 years, the FX that comes in, 70% comes to Nigeria. Foreign direct investment or foreign portfolio investment. And that was when we have stability. But now, why I'm not a fan of that, immediately instability came, they want to withdraw their money. And when they were about to withdraw their money, that's why Naira came. During COVID, they all wanted to withdraw their money back. We couldn't sustain giving them the two-way exchange system. Right. And as it stands now, Nigeria will be suspended for the frontier market, which is a market that makes investors go into say, oh, how's your capital market doing? How's your other market? As long as you remain suspended because of instability in exchange rate, because of you are not creating a two-way exchange system, how will you attract those investors into your market? They will not come because those are the people that give them the parameter to say, okay, this sector is doing very well in this country. You can invest, and you are taken out of that frontier market. So how do you attract investment?
So one question I'd like to ask is the matter of speculators with this new move. Where does this fix them? Will this be able to clamp down on their activities?
You know, I told you something about speculators. Speculators are not illegal. They are market players. Everybody is free to be a speculator. Even the banks are speculators.
So now they are the speculators?
No, they are speculators when the fact that if CBN said the bank have about $5 billion dollars that they were keeping, even the CBN moved to it that the banks also were even they were even putting more of their currency in dollar than in Naira, because that's what we call about the confident level. But again, you won't blame the bank, because some of this money were kept in for them to acquire subsidiary outside the shop, because they are not thinking within this country any longer. They are beginning to think of how can we conquer Africa, how can we be a global player. You can't blame them for that.
Absolutely.
But speculators will always be speculators. They will always be in your market. They will take advantage. And that's what we said. When you are floating the currency, you should be aware that capitalism strives by speculators and investors. One of them have to outsmart each other. You don't have the confidence. You didn't have the liquidity to get there. Now, how do you deal with speculators? Number one is that you create another brand of product, or you come up with policy that will get their fingers burned.
So have we been able to outsmart them?
The only policy you can get to get the speculators' fingers burned today, as it stands, as far as FX is concerned, is what? Pumping liquidity. Let's have excess dollars chasing the Naira. The rate will come down.
So we shouldn't clamp down on the dollar?
How do you clamp down on the dollar? You clamp down on the dollar, use security investors to clamp down on the dollar. It won't work. Why is the dollar to the Naira where it is? It's common economic term, demand and supply. You have so many people demanding the dollar, you have low supply. It's common economic term. Then how do you address that economic term? Increase supply to supersede demand. The rate will come down. When the bureau de change people are beginning to call you that come and exchange money, when I go into the bank is asking me, do you want $1? Look, let me give you an instance. You are not saying you don't want the bank to pay, even if you're willing buy, you are not even telling that they are afraid to pay school fees. Even for your statement, yes. One of the greatest people that patronize the bureau de change today are students abroad, or family that have loved ones that are schooling abroad. They are not ready to bring in their loved one back. So they will find any means possible to get this money across to them. And that is why they will continue to patronize the bureau de change. The airline industry, we have become a global player. People are looking for business to travel all over the country to create more business. And you are not going to tell me, I want to travel, you can't give me FX. I will go to the bureau de change where I can get the FX and travel. So what do you do to burn speculators? You create another market that I can go in there without going to the speculators, because you have liquidity in the system. I said it and I'll say it again. You took the bureau de change market out. You did not create on that market for those people that normally patronize.
Who will be the players in this alternative market that you are suggesting?
No, I'm not talking that. I'm not talking on any alternative market. The banks are there. Okay, so empower the banks. Okay. The banks will be involved. If you want to have the bureau de change, you could have them if you can regulate them.
If you can.
If you can regulate them. What I'm saying is that you remove that market. You didn't create another market. The CBN at the point created that market. They said, okay, now, if you want FX, you want to travel, come to the bank. But the bank were not able to meet demands. And that's why we got to where we are. At the point, the bank up to this moment has suspended FX demand on basic traveling allowance, PTA, and also school fees. So last chunk of the demand, like he said, was for school fees and traveling, and medicals. They're not even traveling. So you want to create that system. Now the CBN is saying we have settled the airlines industry. Have they opened the portals for that sector, the traveling agent, to begin to access air ticket for Nigeria and cheap? No. You are talking about dollars. You go to the airline industry, you want to travel today. You go to their offices, you go to the ticket agent. They say, Oga, if you want to pay Naira, it's over 30 million. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you want to pay dollar, it's less than $10,000. So what do?
You're paying dollars.
You say you do the net. Okay. So if I even go and exchange at 1,000 something, I still have a little bit balance. You go there. That is the problem. The CBN should be able to look themselves in the eyes and say, we need to address this problem.
That's the issue. Are we just treating symptoms and not getting to the root?
Exactly.
Right.
We know the root cause of where we are. We know what the problem is. We know what the solution could be. We shouldn't be here hiking rates. Foreigners will not solve your problem for you. You need to sit down. You need to begin to think out of the box. I remember President Tinubu during his campaign trip, and I think it was in Cross River State. He was telling them that, look, We have people that they are not thinking. Now he's the president. He should begin to get people that are thinking out of the box. The mineral sector can attract a lot of effects in this economy. How much of it are we doing? How much of policy are we bringing to attract it? There's illegal mining everywhere.
Yeah.
What are we doing about it? The tech hub, Nigeria is the tech hub in Africa. How are we going to make sure we become #1 globally? That's where India used to. Today, India is still the world poorest in terms of country, with the more poorer people in the world than any other part of the world. You can call them, even if they say they are competing in Nigeria. But when you look at the population of India and the population of Nigeria, the number of people that are poor in India to the number of people that are poor in Nigeria, you realize that the Indians are poorer than the Nigerians. But what have they done? They look at them, they say they will become the 3rd largest economy in the world. How are they going to achieve that? They are exporting their intellectual properties. They are looking at the technologies sector. They are looking at the medical sector. You know that medically, when things get bad, Nigeria goes to India.
Yeah.
India, they have developed that. So what sector can we develop as a nation that everybody will want to come to Nigeria? I heard the president say very soon we'll become a net exporter of food. Yeah. You will become a net exporter of food in palm oil, in palm kernel, in cassava. No. You look at your competitive advantage.
Yes.
You say, take advantage of this sector. This is the sector we have advantage more. There was a time that they had mad cow disease in the UK and other places. They said cassava could solve that problem. How much of that technology we have been able to use? So we have a lot of opportunities. We've not taken it. Right. For the CBN, they need to get to the root cause of the problem. There's a saying that says, if the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? The righteous can always struggle, but it will not make way. So let's get the foundation right. This is an opportunity to...
All right.
Because, before we go, the problem is that when problem like this comes, it has come before. Naira exchange to dollar got to 500 and something. And they came up with the import-export window. So it's not the problem. The problem is not the short-term solution. It's when we have this external shock again, you will come back to this cycle.
Right.
That has been the problem. So once you sort it out, you must look at a long-term strategy. And I expect the current CBN governor, with the type of goodwill and the kind of support he has, should be able to fix that.
All right. So much has been said. Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO of Finance with Mukhtar, thank you for your time on the program.
Excellent.
My pleasure.
Right.